Hi there, folks. It's Jonathan Denwood here from WP-Tonic. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about what you need to know about choosing a hosting provider if you're a higher education institution. What type of hosting, what type of provider you really need to look for, and how important it is to find the right partner in this particular space. At WP-Tonic, we've got a ton of experience and knowledge. I'll be back in a few moments, folks. Coming back, folks. So you're looking for either a new hosting provider or you're looking to move to WordPress, and you know the right hosting provider is critical. But there seems to be such a amount of information out there, different price points, different technologies. It can be very confusing very quickly. In this video, hopefully, we're going to be able to give you some clear advice and so you can make the right decision. Now, there is a lot of different types of hosting out there because there's a lot of different types of businesses and different types of institutions that can be satisfied at different price points with different kind of setups when it comes to hosting around WordPress. Now, when it comes to higher education institutions, they tend to be higher usage depending on the size of the institution, or is it just going to be utilized by just one department, or maybe it's an individual. It varies a lot, but they tend to be need more powerful demand in hosting than a small business. They tend also to utilize their platform for online learning. That is quite resource hungry and demands a better level of hosting, and just the general requirements of uptime. There, it's more like an e-commerce scenario. If you've got a reasonably successful online business, your requirements for performance and security and uptime are a lot more different if you've just got a small localized service-based business. These are the realities. So a small localized service-based business do not need the type of hosting that a medium-sized e-commerce or educational institution requires. Hopefully that makes sense for you. Now, there used to be very kind of concrete differences in the technologies at very different prices. There used to be shared hosting, virtual virtual hosting, and then you have your own physical server. They are still around. A lot of the larger hosting providers have a lot of legacy data centers, and they're utilizing technology. They're gradually changing that technology, but they do it gradually because of the investment required. Now, with cloud hosting, with providers like Amazon Web Services, Google, Vulture, there's a number of providers, DigitalOcean, there's a number of providers out there that are cloud-based. Then you've got new technologies like Doxer. There's a lot of new technology around hosting, and this technology have blurred the kind of the more concrete scenarios that you were facing about 4 or 5 years ago. Now, it's more about the hosting provider having a good choosing a technology, knowing it well, and then the support they provide. especially around particular industries, particular scenarios when it comes. There's a blurring between what the hosting provider needs to know about WordPress and about hosting technology. And that's what one of the things what you're paying for when it comes to the higher providers. It's not only just the physical or the software they're providing, it's the support and the knowledge around WordPress and how much they are prepared to provide you in trying to keep the site well maintained. Or they're working with your internal developer team, or if you've got external hybrid system where you've got some internal people, but you're utilizing agency, like it depends on how all these groups work with. At WP-Tonic, we're a hybrid, we're a hosting provider, and we're also a WordPress agency. But that you find that most of the higher hosting providers are similar. They host for agencies, they host for clients, and they also are agency in their own right. So what I'm saying here, there's a lot more blurring than there was a few years ago. I also want to point out, I've written an article, you find the link in the description underneath this video, where I go into all this in a lot more detail, and I also provide links and reputation and prices around what the different levels and what you should expect to pay. Now, I'm going to go through some providers that I think would provide a good service. One of those is WP-Tonic. We've got some institutions that have been with us a number of years, and those type of institutions we normally provide Vultr high frequency servers, because they're mostly running learning management systems with us, or BuddyBoss or Fluent Community, and we find the best results for those type of clients is Vultr. And we've stuck with that, and we've been very happy with that kind of performance that we can provide. Some other names. I think WP Engine can be a good provider. They do like their caching, which can be a problem when it comes to learning management systems and BuddyBoss and Fluent Community. That's just a fact. I would say WP Engine does run some very large websites from some very large clients. I see them as a medium, a lower to medium provider, to be truthful. I've lowered them in the food chain a bit, but it doesn't mean that they're a bad provider. It just that some of the others, I think, can offer a higher solution. Kinsta, I would actually rate Kinsta a little bit higher than WP Engine. They're a great team, great people. They also like their caching. I think the value they provide is a little bit more than WP Engine, but other people disagree with me there. Conversio, excellent team, really great hosting, a bit more expensive. A bigger website would probably benefit in looking at Conversio. I've just noticed though that they've introduced a more lower price starter plan. But they're great people, and they're using very modern technology. So I definitely would recommend them, and I know some of the key personnel at Conversio, and the same with Kinsta. I know some of the key people at Kinsta, and I've got no problem in recommending them. Pagely, that's another provider. They are at a higher level than they overlap with Conversio, but Conversio's got more competitive startup plans than Pagely, but Pagely, I think they were bought out a few years ago, and they're actually owned by GoDaddy, and I wouldn't recommend GoDaddy to any kind of institution. They're really more for the really small business, really, rather than institution, association, or a larger company or e-commerce. I just wouldn't recommend them. But I think they keep the Pagely branding and they keep the team there because they've got the experience to handle enterprise level or educational level requirements. There's a lot of providers out there, but and I don't plan to go through all of them. I'm just giving you some names out there that got some experience with. Um, but there is a lot of people out there, but most of them are aimed at the small business market, and I don't think they're suitable for educational institution that's using a learning management system or community website like Buddy Boss or Fluent Community or CRM like Fluent CRM. You just need a much more robust hosting provider. Hopefully you found this video useful. If you do, give us a thumbs up, ring that bell, and think about subscribing to the channel because that really does show Google, your YouTube, that I'm doing something right. And it's a win-win for both of us because it encourages me to make more of these videos. I'll see you soon, folks. Bye.